Factor 4p cubed minus 12p using the greatest common factor method. What is the greatest common factor? It ain't the greatest of all time. It's an acronym for basically just a number that, the biggest number that can be divided evenly into two different numbers or more. Okay, that's it. That's literally all it is. Some people are like, oh dang, what's a GCF? So let's do this really quick. And after this one, we're gonna do maybe 4 or 5 other ones so you can kind of get some practice in. So 4p cubed minus 12. Sorry, it's a terrible 2. My OCD gets reactive. Okay, so you're thinking, okay, so what do we do? So the first thing we do is this. For a moment, just ignore the letters. We're only gonna focus on the numbers, okay? And by the way, we call the numbers in general in math, we call them integers, we call letters variables. So we're gonna focus on the integers, the numbers. Let's do the 4 timetables really quick. 4, 8, 12. Now, in this case, we found 4, we got it right here, and we got 12. So I think we found our GCF, or our greatest common factor would be 4. Now you're like, well, why can't it be 12? Tell me 12 times what number gives us 4? None. However, 4 times 3 can give us 12, just like we got here. 4 times 1 can give us 4. Therefore, 4 is the greatest common factor. So let's do this really quick. So you probably see something where it's like a number, parentheses, some number, minus or plus, some number, right? You kind of see it in that format. Well, let's work on it step by step. As soon as this eraser decides to erase this stuff. Awesome. So first things first on the real list. I'm kidding. So we established our greatest common factor is 4. So we're going to work on the outside first. So we write a 4. Not a big deal. Now, we're going to work on what comes next. We're going to work on the letter. Now we see p cubed and we see a p on that side too. Technically, this is p to the 1. Anytime you see a letter by itself, it's technically to the 1 power. We just don't write the ones in math. It's just in general. We just don't because it'd be too messy. So do you agree that 1 is smaller than 3? That is all we're doing. We write the letter that has the smallest exponent. In this case, 1 is smaller than 3. Therefore, we just write p. And that's it. We've literally done 50% of the work right now. Literally. Now, we write a parenthesis, and now we're going to work on what's on the inside of the parentheses. Okay? So we did the outside, now we're going to do the inside part. 4 times what number gives us 4? And this is literally what we're doing. We're going to this guy first, and then we're going to that guy first. So 4 times what number gives us 4? We did it earlier right here. 1. Boom. P, this is to the 1 power. This is 3. So it's 3 minus 1. 2. Perfect. We write the minus. Haven't touched it. If it's a plus, you write a plus. If it's a minus, you write a minus. Easy peasy. Now, 4 times what number gives us 12? 4 times 3, right? We write a 3. Now we have 1 and 1. So 1 minus 1 gives us 0, but you're not going to write p to the 0. You're just going to leave it b because it means it's nothing. Now, like I told you earlier, we don't write 1s in math. We don't do that. I'm just doing that for the sake of educational purposes. We don't write a 1 there. You would leave it like this. This would be the answer. 4p, open parenthesis, p squared minus 3, close parenthesis. Not too bad, right? So let's do some practices, okay? Hope you copy that down. Either way, you could just reverse. So let's say we had a problem. Same thing, we're doing the same thing, greatest common factor. Let's say we had, I don't know, 10 plus 5x. And someone told you factor this using GCF, the greatest common factor. First things first, let's establish which number can be multiplied by which number to get us both of these. So let's do the 5 timetables. I usually, rule of thumb is I start with the smallest number and I do all the timetables until I get both numbers. 5, 10, wow, we got it. So 5 is clearly the greatest common factor, right? Because 5 times 1 equals 5. That's one of our answers. 5 times 2 gives us 10. That's one of our answers. So we kind of found it. We got our answer already. It's this. So we're going to pull a 5 out. Now we're going to do the letter. He doesn't have a letter, but he does. So if one does and one doesn't, you just don't write nothing. We're on the next step. Parentheses. 5 times what gives us 10? 2. Now, like I told you earlier, you see a plus, you write a plus. If you see a minus, you write a minus. 5 times what gives us 5? 1. But in math, we don't write a 1. We just let it be. And now what's left over? An x. Does he have an x? Nope. So x gets written right there. So if you want to see it, it would be like 1x, but like I told you, we don't write that in math. It'd be kind of weird. So that's our answer. Simple, right? Let's try another one. I'm going to start making them a little bit harder. Let's do, I don't know, 30x plus 80y. That looks like a G, but it's a Y. So you're like, okay, well, what number times what number gives us 30? And then what number, oh my God. Think about it easy. Let's do, if you can't do 30s, because look, 30s, 60s, 90s. Oh, that clearly didn't work, right? However, we can actually sometimes make things easier on ourselves. 10, 20, 30, 40, blah, 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 blah. Eventually we get to 80, right? So the greatest common factor, 10 times 3 gives us 30. 10 times 8 gives us 80. We found it. Our GCF is 10. I'm going to write a 10 on the outside. Now letters. Ooh, we got an X here, we got a Y here. They don't mix, so we don't write anything. Now, 10 times what gives us 30? Obviously 3. There's an X here, there's no X here. So just write the X. It comes back down here. We see a plus, we write a plus. We see a minus, we write a minus. 10 times 80 gives us what? Or not 10 times 80, I'm sorry. 10 times what gives us 80? 8. We see a Y here, no Y here. Okay, just Y just chills. That's our answer. We factored it. Let's take it up a notch. Let's say we had 7x y, which it can happen, plus 28x squared y. Let's factor this guy out. So 7, in this case, if we did all the 7 timetables, we obviously know that 28, we can do 7 times 4 equals 28. So we know it would be the GCF. So first things first, we know that 7 is our GCF, our greatest common factor. Next, on this side of the plus, we got an x and we got a y. On that side of the plus, we have an x and we got a y. Now, sorry, that's my dog. That's x to the 1. This is y to the 1. That's y to the 1. So now we know what we have. What is 2 minus 1? That would just be 1x. A 1 and a 1? That would just be 1y. Now, let's do our parentheses. Let's work on what's on the inside. 7 times what gives us x? 7 times what gives us 7? It would be a 1. 1 minus 1 is a 0, so no x. This is also to the 1. 1 minus 1 gives us 0, because it would be 0, and then we write a plus. Next, 7 times what number gives us 28? 4. Right? 7 times 4 gives us 28. Now let's go back here. We have a 2 on this x. 2 minus 1. That's 1. 1, or yeah, y with a 1 minus this one. 0. We don't write anything out. Now, last step is I'm going to erase these, because once again, we don't write our 1s in math. Just for educational purposes. That would be our final answer. Now, let's take this up a level. Let's say we had, I'm going to make a ridiculous one. Let's say we had 36x cubed y to the 6th power minus 63 x to the 5th y to the 7th. You're like, what the heck? But chill for a second, chill. What number, and it's not 36 by the way, one number can be multiplied eventually to get all 3 of these numbers? I'll save you some time. It'd be 9, right? Because if you do what, 9 times 4 gives us 36. If you did what, 9 times 7 that would give us 63. kind of funny how that worked out. I didn't try that. I didn't plan that out actually. So we found our GCF because we got both answers here. So first things we do, factor out our GCF, which in this case is a 9. Now we try our x's. We have x to the third, x to the fifth. Which one's the smaller one, 3 or 5? You're right. X cubed. We have a y to the 6, y to the 7. Which one's smaller? Y to the 6. I think you're starting to see I'm getting shortcuts now. Now, we fill in what's inside. And this is actually easier than doing what we just did. 9 times y gives us 36. 4. We have x to the third, x to the third. That becomes 0, so we don't write an x. X to the 6. I'm sorry, y to the 6, y to the 6. 6 minus 6, 0, so we don't write a y. Now we write a minus, because that's a minus. 9 times what number gives us 63? That's right, 7. We got x to the 5th, 5 minus 3, x to the 2nd. We have y to the 7th, 7 minus 6, y to the 1. That is correct. But remember, once again in math, we don't write that part out. And we don't scribble scrabble. So that's pretty much how GCF works. Not too hard. It's just a matter of practice. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.